Hi, I'm James Bedford. We're here at Cisco Live 2014 in San Francisco, celebrating 25 years of Cisco Live. I'm joined now by Doug Webster. Doug, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, James.
Very warm welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I want to jump straight in and pick up on something that John Chambers mentioned yesterday in his keynote. So he mentioned growth drivers, mobility and cloud being two of them. Tell me, what is happening in the world of mobility? What predictions can you share with us?
Sure, so in my team, as service provider marketing, we have a thought leadership effort that generates the Cisco Visual Networking Index. And we have one that's focused on fixed, one on mobility, and one on cloud. And so this team of analysts actually focuses on that very multiple faceted question. When it comes into the mobility side, we're seeing just tremendous growth. Out of all the segments, it's growing the fastest, effectively growing 11 times in over a 5-year period between 2013 and 2018. And just think about the amount you use your mobile devices and recognize that the vast majority of the world doesn't have access to the internet except from a mobile device. So that's why we're seeing this incredible growth that's taking place there. And that provides a load not just on the network from bandwidth perspective, but also a signaling perspective, because the network has to keep track of all these different devices as they're moving around. There are a number of trends that are going on there. This whole notion of the internet of everything is very much catching hold. In fact, in the most recent report we did in February, we did a whole section on wearables about how these different devices that you have that right now may connect via Wi-Fi are actually going to be connecting to the mobile internet soon too. And next year we're going to be looking into consumables or ingestibles, those devices that you'll take that will actually inside your body connecting out into the network.
You actually kind of eat a microchip or something?
Absolutely.
That is astonishing.
Think about all the biomedical information that can be gathered that way and shared in this Internet of Everything, and mobility is going to be key to making that happen.
And of course, it sounds like science fiction, but it's actually science fact, because the Internet of Everything is happening right now, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're working with service providers right now to put chips into pill bottle tops, so you can actually get flagged whether or not your mom or dad or your grandparents who may live far away from you are actually taking their medicine. We're putting them in sensors into sandals to see whether or not they're getting out of bed and walking, into bicycle and football helmets that can gauge impact and can actually start having a cascading amount of reactions as a result. So very exciting stuff.
It's absolutely amazing. So really the Internet of Everything is placing people at the heart of it and enhancing our daily lives. Tell me more about service providers and specifically service provider marketing, how you're working with service providers to grow their business, focusing on the Internet of Everything, cloud mobility.
Yeah, well, because of these studies that we do, we're able to go in and share with them our findings, our forecast models, and then actually work with their network architects to decide really what does their network have to be like in 5 years to keep up with this growth. And then we actually have a whole separate group that is focused on business models. So okay, now that we recognize this growth, what's going to be the right way to charge for services? What are new services that they can come out with that can meet a demand in the market, but also make sure they're not just going to be taking on more traffic, but they're going to be able to participate in the transaction, deliver more value to the customer, which means more value then to their overall business as a whole. So we look at it both from a technology perspective and then on the business perspective, and that provides a great deal of relevance for Cisco as we strive to be their preferred partner of choice.
And of course, your team produced many reports on these subjects you've been talking about. When is the next report available for our customers and partners to read? Sure,
so the next Cisco Visual Networking Index report is going to be coming out in 3 weeks' time. It's June 10th. This is going to be our 9th annual report, so it's something that we're pleased that it's been called the gold standard by many. It's used by our customers. It tends to be account for about 2.5% of all of Cisco's news coverage worldwide. So very relevant in terms of news. And of course, it also helps then our network architects then plan, which again provides greater relevance for us, as well as it even has a very strong impact on government affairs or regulators as they work on their broadband policies, something that's very key to John's agenda as well.
And where can people get access to this report? Is it on cisco.com?
It is cisco.com/go/VNI. We'll do a broadcast globally discussing them in trends, and then what are the regulatory impacts. There'll be all sorts of tools you can use to actually dive into details, so it's not just on the overall findings, but you can break it down by country, by different types of service. It even creates graphics for you so you can put them into your presentations or help it make into your business case. It's open source. We share it all out to the industry as a whole to really help keep a pulse on the very thriving heartbeat of the industry as we move into the Internet of Everything.
Let's take a look at networking now, the networking industry specifically. What trends are driving the networking industry?
Yeah, there are four main trends. One is that there's a great deal more users that are coming onto the network. Many of them, as I mentioned earlier, are going to be on mobile networks. Yeah. Effectively about half the world's population will have access into the internet. Those users are having a great deal more devices that are coming on. If you just think of the number of devices that you have added to the internet in the last 12 months,
it can be so many, it's ridiculous.
Daunting, right? And well, you know, if I just look at myself, we have a digital life service from AT&T, so that our thermostat, our windows, our alarm system, video surveillance starts coming on. You know, your Fitbit, you're having a whole slew of different devices that are going to need the network. So we're having a great deal more devices, about 19 billion we're estimating devices will be on the network, and that's growing very dramatically. Those devices are able to leverage much faster broadband speeds, which is the third major factor. Those are tripling or quadrupling, which we move from 3G to 4G, and as fiber is starting to come into broadband. And then, of course, when you have more advanced devices and faster speeds, you can do more with it. And the preferred medium in the network as a whole is video. Video is going to be driving anywhere from about 69 to 73% of the amount of traffic. We're consuming about 2 years worth of video every second on the global network.
Wow,
so it's
that's
just
amazing.
It's incredible. So you hear John talking about these trends. We actually have the data that backs it up. There is an incredible amount of traffic going across the network, all driven by those four main aspects: more users, more devices, faster broadband speeds, and a great deal more video.
And what I love about this is we're providing connections to where there were never connections before. So we're providing education to countries where they had no education before. So the connection, you know, just helps people dramatically change their lives.
Yeah, it helps societies, it helps governments, it helps businesses, and it also brings about a great deal more convenience. And you know, another major aspect that John's been talking about is cloud, and cloud is just taking off. There's actually more traffic in the cloud than there is on the larger network, because we measure traffic that takes place within the data center. About 3/4 of the data is there. Between the data center, as these data centers are replicating one another to provide that cloud functionality, and then only about 17% of it is actually going to be seen by a user. So while we're dealing with a great deal of traffic, the whole cloud mechanisms behind it is actually generating even more than we're able to see.
Some last thoughts for us on your experience of Cisco Live, or what our service providers have told you they want from Cisco.
The service providers are really looking to us to be their business partner. They know that we have the technology, and we were told that most recently at our Global Customer Advisory Board meeting in March, and some of the one-on-one customer meetings that we have in EBCs, and even by our industry analysts here at Cisco Live this week. People know we have the technology. They know we are uniquely able to pull it all together. Our breadth of our portfolio is incredible, and we actually can make those connections that no one else can. We can work in the gray area between technology silos to really thread a true solution. What they're also really looking for us, though, is to help them on their business, on their organization, on their overall thinking, to come up with new ideas and help their business evolve, just as we're going through an evolution of our business as well.
And as John said, those organizations and businesses that don't innovate and don't reinvent themselves will be left behind. So it's so important that Cisco and our customers and partners reinvent themselves constantly into the next phase of the Internet of Everything.
Absolutely, we're partners. Our success is dependent on one another, and so this is a great opportunity for us at Cisco and service providers who sit at the Internet of Everything to make this a reality, and we both thrive together.
Doug, thank you so much for your time. I'm James Bedford. We'll be back very soon.
Thanks, James.